Hey Hillary, how are you?
Good, Jenny. How are you?
Good. Happy Pride Month.
Yes, happy Pride Month.
Protect queer kids.
I don't have any of my wares on, but I will next week.
It's June. How's it June?
I don't know. This year's, like every year, has flown by.
Except when it wasn't.
Yeah, it's true. Today is Sunday, June 1st. If you're listening, it is on or after Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. This is season 7, episode 21.
And you're listening to Kissing Lips and Breaking Hearts with the Garden Tarts. Thanks for
Welcome.
tuning in. It's been a big week.
It has been for
Hey,
us and,
little buddy.
Bono.
Little buddy. I'm so proud of him.
I am too. Like that's what I have like a few notes and every one of them it's just like I'm proud. I'm proud. I'm
Yeah.
proud.
So I don't think we have anything else to talk to except around the film, right?
Yes. Well,
That's it.
and a little promotion, but yes.
Well, to me, that's still film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Film, it's film related.
We don't have any other so tell me about your movie viewing experience.
Well, it was lovely. We were at, as I said last week, I went to B2 Fan Extraordinaire's house, Mary Cipriani. We'll hear from her a little bit later. And we barbecued and had some drinks and a bunch of food and talked. And then we went down to her basement where she's got a big screen TV and we put the film on and just sat in silence, enjoying it. Except every once in a while there was like a gasp, or something like.
Yeah.
It was great. And the last time I saw the the book tour on stage was with Garden Tart Amanda. And so it was nice to be next to her again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aw.
it was
I
great.
had I had a little fun party. I had my friends Lauren and Kelly over and my parents, and we had pizza, interesting pizza too, like a different pizza. It was like lemon ricotta, goat cheese, and asparagus and balsamic and
Oh my God, it sounds
yeah,
amazing.
it was absolutely amazing. I loved it. We had cheese and crackers, and we had cake and whiskey and Magna
Yay.
and popcorn.
And
And
Magners. I love it.
yeah, Magners, and I knew put a couple more in the refrigerator. But I had little party favors, and they were a little bottle of some kind of new Baileys, some dairy-free toffee something Baileys.
Ooh, I've only had their regular dairy-free one, and it's great. Yeah.
And Jameson, a little bottle of Jameson, and rose-colored shade,
Aw.
which everyone wore, everyone participated. And
You,
then,
I shared the pictures on our stories.
yeah, thank um, but that was the big reveal. Like no, I told nobody that I was doing that. And anyway, so we decided to play a drinking game. My original idea was when Bono said Allie, but then Lauren decided he wasn't going to say Allie enough and we needed to add Edge. Not a good
And there's a
idea.
lot of edge.
And there's there was there's one place where he says like Edge like 3 times in one sentence. And like we're like, oh, dying. And my parents play along but with water.
I
Um
love that so much.
yeah, it's always good to stay hydrated. Um,
Yes.
but it was so much fun. Yeah. And needless to say, he says Allie and Edge a lot. We would have been just fine with Allie, but we drank Screwball. That was our shots. I bought a new bottle of Screwball after like a really long time, and it's now almost depleted.
Oh, I
Uh,
believe it. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, it was just a really great, and people talked a little bit, but it wasn't over anything he said. It was just, a comment here and there. It was just, uh,
was it what you expected it to be?
Yeah, kinda. It was somewhat what I expected.
It was, I mean, just because, we've seen some clips on like the promotional clips that U2's been sharing on their social medias, and knowing it was filmed for Vision Pro and that it's like in his face and
Yeah.
personal, I knew that. But the parts where he was talking over himself being on stage
That
and when he
yeah,
like broke the fourth wall, and there were definitely some very cool moments that I did not see, like cinematic moments
yeah.
that I did not see coming, that it is it's cool.
That's very cool. Like
Yeah.
I'm just
And
again so proud.
he keeps calling it a new form of media, and but I'm wondering if that has to do with like the Vision Pro thing
Yeah.
as opposed to like you know, autobiographical stage situation.
Yeah.
But
He's
so good.
just so smart and talented and animated and real. And I mean, it's obviously edited, but the the confidence he had by the last show just amazing compared to the first show. Like when we
Oh,
saw the first show and he was
shaking in his boots.
yeah, he was. He didn't know his cues. Like he didn't know when to talk into the microphone and when to talk to his lapel. Like it was confusing.
There was there was a lot.
Yeah. But
Uh,
I mean it was a drastic difference
oh, for
from what
sure.
we
I mean,
saw.
there was a huge difference between when you and I saw it and then when Amanda and I saw it, and then from that to this.
Yeah.
And
So one of the things that I totally forgot about and it just cracked me up. Like I laughed so hard and my friends laughed because we have this weird inside joke which actually came to be when you and Amanda visited me right before COVID. Like
uh-huh.
days before COVID. There was a new-ish bartender at my local
Yeah.
and I did not recall meeting him prior to that night.
Yep.
And our friend Kip was like, James is going to help you tonight. And I'm like, who the fuck is James?
I forgot about that.
So when we were in New York for
Hmm.
the first Bukter show, um, Bono tells the Pavarotti story, and he says, Pavarotti was like, I want to see you and Edge and James and Larry. And like we looked at each other like that at in real time, like who
Yeah.
the fuck is James?
James.
I totally forgot about it. And so like I introduce him to people now as who the fuck is James. He's now my dear friend. It's been years and he is very dear to me. But I'm like because I said it like several times after that because I don't know why, but like I just could not remember that. And
Yeah.
he's memorable. He's adorable. He's a good guy. I don't know why I just could not. I think it was his name. I couldn't remember his name. But anyway, so when Bono said that in the Pavarotti part, um my friends looked at me like, "Who the fuck is James?" I'm like, it's like Bono said on the
They
joke.
know James, I
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah. So
So good. So good.
yeah,
Just your thing about Pavarotti made me think about this was that just, I mean, on film, it was, I mean, and it worked so well on stage, him just turning his head to be different people.
yeah,
But oh my gosh,
crazy.
it worked so good.
Yeah,
So good on film. It was amazing. Just done. I mean, and Bono keeps giving all these accolades to Andrew, the director. And I mean, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Just
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, should we listen to a few voice memos from some friends and their reactions?
yes, we should.
And then we'll just talk about a few other things.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's go. Here's some friends of ours telling us what they thought of it.
Hi, Jenny, Hillary, and listeners. It's Garden Tart Amanda here. I was delighted to get to watch Bono's Stories of Surrender movie the other night at a little watch party with Jenny and some other friends. It was the best to kind of relive the experience of seeing it at the theater with Jenny. I just can't get over how amazing and controlled his vocals are. I love the versions of the songs that he did for this show. I'm so glad, a few of them were released as an EP. The staging, the lighting, the music with Gemma and Jackknife Lee, everything is just so gorgeous. I do agree with something another friend said, that it's almost too vulnerable at some points to like how close up the camera gets. But I think that's kind of the point. And like I told him when we were able to chat with him outside the theater, I'm just so thankful that he shares all these stories with us. It's such an amazing insight into the person and the artist that he is. So thanks, y'all. Bye.
Hello, hello, Garden Tarts. I had a lot of fun at a Bono Stories of Surrender watch party on Friday and wanted to let you guys know what I thought of the movie. I'm probably a much more casual fan than a lot of your listeners, and I've always been more of a Edge or Adam guy than Bono, so it was a lot of Bono, but that's exactly what it promised. And having not read his book, I was very pleasantly surprised about how insightful many of the stories were, and it really made me think a lot more about Bono, independent of previous experience. And the movie itself was beautiful. Staging, lighting, it was all great. So I would be happy to watch it again with some people who are bigger fans, and I think people who are not even as big a fan probably would get a lot out of it. Hope you guys are having a great night. Bye.
Hello, Jenny. Hello, Hillary. Hello, listeners. Mary C. here reporting. Having seen the Surrender Show live, I was initially thinking it was too bad they didn't keep the opening numbers of City of Blinding Lights and With or Without You in the film. But, what works live doesn't necessarily translate onto film. The edits that were made and how they tightened up the transitions between stories felt right to me and necessary to keep the pace moving along briskly. I also really liked that moment when Bono looks directly into the camera, breaking the fourth wall when discussing his activism. As Jimmy Kimmel accurately noted, he likes to get that self-deprecating poke in before anyone else can. Bono's singing is just stellar throughout this film. I really hope that U2.com posts a full video performance of Return to Sereno from the San Carlo Theater on YouTube. It is such an iconic moment in an iconic venue. It's right up there with Red Rocks and Live Aid and Sling Castle, and so I hope it gets to be a standalone video to reach a larger audience.
Hey, Jenny Stedman, it's Todd Richards calling. I heard you're looking for short reviews of Songs of Surrender on the Apple TV movie. I will say this much about how great the film was. It was excellently put together with the artistic direction, I'm sure, of the fantastic Gavin Friday. I was really taken by the use of the black and white imagery where Bono could literally talk to Bono playing a different character in his story. And make it visually striking at the same time it made sense. It was something I had not seen done visually for a very long time. And that, along with the terrific sound mix, I thought made for a great presentation of an already great book. I'm actually kind of bummed that they've reissued the full book in an edited format to fit the film better, the film presentation, because the book was so wonderful to read and go back and kind of step into some of those great stories that didn't make it on film. So I'm hoping maybe to get both copies on my shelf because, I don't know, as YouTube fans, I guess that's what we do. But terrific film, well worth time and sorting out and taking in, hopefully on a very large television screen to keep in all that beautiful black and white videography, filmography. Hope that helps. Talk to you soon. I know.
Thanks for sending those in, everyone.
Thank
We
you.
loved experiencing it with you, and thanks for taking the time to give us some thoughts.
Yeah, my friend Kelly watched it. Yeah, was in my group, and she was very What? Oh,
What?
you
That
need to go
Kelly.
there. Um, but anyway, she was very emotional about it. And I think she didn't know any of his like background story, and it was just kind of interesting to watch her process that and watch the emotions that she had. Like, I don't know, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
You know,
Saying she didn't either.
no, but I mean, obviously, watching is emotional. It's emotional to see him relive all of that and perform it. But I know all his, I know all the stories he's shared, and so like none of it was like did he just say none of I knew everything that he said. And so it was just interesting to watch it with people who were not as Bono fluent as, yeah. So this is not related, but Bono related. Not related to what we were just talking about. I got a text from my brother today with a picture of an Italian olive oil that's called Bono.
That's what Mary cooked with in her house the other night.
Yep.
That looks like a different bottle. But yeah, Mary had Bono olive oil
So I'm
in her
like,
house for the barbecue.
I said, that's lame, just calling it good olive oil. And Jeremy's like, I didn't taste it. It was just used to cook. And I'm like, no, I mean, Bono means good. And I'm like, it was a pun. I tried. And he's like, oh, I
I
didn't.
got it.
Like, it was funny in my head. Okay, so one of Bono's media exploits from this week was an interview in Esquire magazine, which was really good. There was information in there I'd never heard before, which is really super rare to find because
Yeah.
we listen to every word that anybody says, that he says or that anybody says about him. We know all this stuff. But this was really surprising. And the pictures, holy crap. Man, when he cleans up well.
Yeah.
His
And
fancy
I mean,
clothes,
just
the
in
fit.
general, all of his interviews have been so laid back and casual, and people are going to be asking some of the same things. So there's some of the same like taglines and this and that, but also just his life is just up for grabs.
Yeah,
So people can ask almost anything,
yeah,
and we're getting a lot of information.
yeah.
And he's
So
very calm about it and casual, like
he,
just chatty.
he is. And like, we've said with a lot of stuff in the past week that he's just real. And he talks about the caricature of himself. And he's really let that down, which is good because when was the last time we like had real, for real Bono, like Joshua Tree? Like,
Yeah.
not since then. Um, anyway, I mean, you can dig, but
Yeah. And there's moments, but not in the public.
no, no, no. So one of the things that I really loved from the Esquire article was Gavin talking about Feral Bono. He said that Bono would knock on the door at dinner time and his mom would let him in and, he'd eat. And then they later found out that he had like 3 other homes that he did that.
He would leave so fast.
I had a cat that did that. We didn't know, but like we went outside one day and this lady across the street's like calling her, except she called her Gus. And my cat's name was Punky.
Okay.
And she's like, come back over, Gus. Don't bother those people. And we're like, it's my cat.
We are her people.
She lives in my house. She goes out to poop and apparently to beg for food. And we found out that there were like 2 other homes that were feeding her. She was getting like 3 meals a day here, plus table food, and like begging for food in other people's homes. So Bono is basically A feral cat. Yeah,
He's a feral.
it's punky.
Appropriate name.
Another, there were a few things, but another one of the things that he said that I thought was just adorable was the interviewer asked him what his grandchildren call him. And apparently there was a pause, and he's like, Bono? Like,
That was a great question.
it was an excellent question.
Yeah.
I would have liked the answer, not so smart ass, but
Well, and
but it was
if
great.
y'all
I love that.
if y'all haven't read the interview, he was interviewed at home in the south of France. So there was lots of talk about the property and that Edge is part of, like the Edge is there too, and where the family stays. And so it was pertinent to the fact that they were talking about building more buildings on the property because of growing family. Grandkids came up, but
Adorable.
adorable.
But another thing, not just from this interview, but from like everything, you want to think that Bono and Edge are besties because you always see them together. But apparently they really, really are. And it's just sweet.
Yeah. Was it? It wasn't in the Esquire interview. It was in, I mean, he's mentioned a few times if the band members have seen
Yeah.
the film, but when he did an onstage interview thing for like an Emmy consideration, and he's made some smart ass jokes about, I like Adam said I loved this part, and that doesn't even make sense, like it doesn't exist, but it was like Edge shows up,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
he,
Edge was with him at Cannes,
yeah,
and um, it's just very heartfelt. I think it was this article that Edge said you can capture Bono on stage, but not backstage. Like
right,
he's not in character or whatever for.
right. I guess the director originally wanted to do a making of,
Yeah.
like a documentary, a making of the stage show. And yeah, Edge told him that the only way to get Bono is on stage,
Yeah. Um, so
like real Bono. Yeah.
real Bono. Or apparently you can get real Bono in Esquire magazine and all the recent news stuff, but not. Anyway, so one of the things I think the interviewer said, and Bono, led on to this, that he's alone a lot of the time. And you would think that he wouldn't be because, firstly, he's got a giant family and, you know, a staff and security, and everybody in the world wants to hang out with them. I mean, we do. Um, so, like,
Real.
right.
You're just sitting in France all alone?
But, like, I got that. It just made me think about it because, like, during Pop Mart, a lot of the time, like, it does seem like during Pop Mart, I just always felt like he was kind of alone, and that's why he kind of embraced fandom a whole lot more in that time because, I mean, we never saw his family with him except in DC.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the only time that I mean, of course we weren't at every show, but
No, but I mean,
but yeah.
we went to a lot of shows after that, and I
Uh-huh.
never saw anybody. And so I get that, and it's, I guess maybe it's refreshing, and maybe it's sad. I don't know.
And I mean, he said, I think he was referring even just being like in the south of France. He says people come and go all the time, but that he's often there alone.
Yeah.
And I guess also like just at the age where kids are doing their own thing, who knows what Allie's up to? I mean, I'm sure she's got all kinds of stuff up her sleeve that she's working on
Right.
and traveling. I'm sure she's got some philanthropic stuff. I mean, I think she still does the Chernobyl thing. And maybe she just doesn't want to hang out with them all the time. I don't want to hang out with people all the time either.
But yeah, I don't know about Bono, but no, probably not.
I'll
So
give it a try.
yeah. Another kind of very sad thing was he said, he was absent a lot for his kids, and that if one of them asked, where were you for my 8th birthday? But I'm like thinking, my dad couldn't answer that.
But he was probably with you.
I mean, probably, but he worked a lot back then. And I don't know. I mean, I assume he was with me, but
But was it a tour year? Was he in Africa? Was it?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, kids seem to like him, so that's great.
right. I
Oh,
hope.
there's so much talk. Like, he's got so much pride in those kids. And I mean, he's got to have pride in. I mean, I know, Allie and, there's a lot of help raising them, but he obviously had a part in
Yeah.
what amazing kids these are because, I mean, he could have been the downfall of all of them,
Right. Right.
just being the nature of his job.
Oh yeah,
They're
absolutely.
like pretty
And I
solid
mean,
kids. Yeah.
yeah, that don't seem to hate him, which I think that's all I have on Esquire, but it's a really good article. You should read it.
Yeah,
And
just go to
it's not
esquire.com.
it's not
You'll see
behind a
the full
paywall or
page. And they've been posting a lot of stuff even over the last few days on social media. I guess they quote all their articles, over, but it's a great read. There's some videos in the middle asking them some stuff. It's worth it.
They
Um,
showed him like videos on an iPad. I don't know, the one that was I just thought was funny was when they did the video for I still haven't found what I'm looking for in Vegas, and he was like, "It's embarrassing. I was so drunk," and
overserved.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in there. So it's like a little 6-minute video is worth a watch. I've seen bits of it the stuff's been online, but it's fun. He's been on Jimmy Kimmel this week kind of twice. They aired it twice, apparently.
that was absolutely great. He asked, Jimmy Kimmel asked Bono, like, whose side are you on, Trump or Springsteen? And he said, "There's only one boss in America."
That's right.
Um, and then this was the best, and I'm going to use this like forever. But Jimmy Kimmel said, how did it feel to be in the company of, Trump's rant about Springsteen and Oprah and Beyonce? And he was like, I play tambourine in that band. And I'm like, I'm using it. I'm taking it.
Anytime something's great, I play tambourine.
Yeah.
I need to remember to use that too.
Yeah. I've used it a couple times already. I can't remember what
Making a note.
the context was, and that's the name of this episode.
Sure is.
So, are we the only people who haven't interviewed Bono this week? Like, in the world? Like, it's just us, right?
Yes.
Like, nobody else. And we're nice and smart and adorable and liberal. What do we gotta do?
Right? We did ask, so don't throw that out there, y'all. You said to us, we did ask.
We need to
And we had a
ask
very,
again.
very polite, not, no. It wasn't even a not at this time. It was just a very polite no. So we'll ask again another time. Yeah. But he's doing some long ass fucking interviews. He can't just cut out 30 minutes or 20 minutes early. He talked to this Esquire person for days.
Yeah. On Zoom? Like, we can do Zoom.
Person in Zoom. We're literally video right now.
Right. In the middle of the night, you want to talk. In the middle of the day, whatever, Bono, just hit us up. Come on, man.
You know how to reach us.
Yeah.
And there's been so much. We're not I think you said last week or something, we are not your one-stop source for
No, not even close.
did you get I got the new version of the book. I had to go to Barnes and Noble and
Mine
get
came
it.
yesterday, but I haven't opened it yet.
Oh, the Treatment podcast with Elvis Mitchell is wonderful. You can find that on podcast players. They actually talk a lot about the Unforgettable Fire, which I did listen to that. I'm looking at the list on YouTube songs, and there's just so much.
I don't know. Just Bono, please throw us a bone here. It's been a while.
Amanda and I kept singing that the other night, and we're like, we're so glad we have to pay royalties on that. That would suck. We know a lot of money,
Yeah, a lot.
just in general.
But so would Adam Scott and Scott.
The Scots.
Yeah. Bono has talked about what he had been watching a lot, which is a wild variety and interesting, but
Yeah.
Table, which I've watched and that is good. Fleabag.
So good.
I haven't watched Fleabag.
So good.
And The Kardashians, which
So this
Lord.
was something new to me, and we actually talked about this Friday night when we were at Mary's house, was we were trying to piece together him having big time open heart surgery in December 2016, summer 2017, like 6, 7 months later, Joshua Tree tour.
Yep.
After major open heart surgery. You don't recover like that.
Well, no,
but
you don't. But I suspect
just from physically being opened.
Right. But
I'm
I
sure his
suspect
heart was great.
if you have the means to have, physical therapy 3 times a day or whatever,
Yeah.
that helps you
But
get along. But that's still major.
That's major. And so I was like, so after having that discussion Friday night, I was like, that is crazy. Like, why did they let him go on tour? And it turns out we learned from Esquire they didn't want him to. He compromised by saying he would stand still.
He didn't stand still.
I mean, he wasn't running around. He spent a lot of time in his mic stand.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
Or, in God's country had a spot. He stayed there.
Yeah.
Other stuff, he was over there. Like, it was not.
No, you're totally right.
To like the tree stage and stuff, but once he got there, it was there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I never would have noticed that.
No, it just seemed like it was how the tour was. But in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, he was at the mic stand a lot.
Yeah, he really was, which was to our advantage when we were under the mic stand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spectacles. Yeah, that is really interesting. I mean, I think it was his friends and family that said, "Don't tour."
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was his loved ones. Yes, not
because
I
I
don't know
always
what the
felt
doctors were saying.
Joshua Tree was kind of an obligation, a wonderful obligation. So I have a question this week over Whiskey and Cake, and that, like, how does he feel watching that movie?
Could you imagine sitting in that theater in Cannes and like watching yourself while everyone else watches you watch you?
I cannot imagine how that would feel.
That's a great question.
And like, I always also thought that it would be weird watching myself. It's weird hearing my own voice. It's weird watching myself, but I think this pod has cured me of that.
Well, I'm
Especially
sure he's
because
used
I
to
like
it on some level, some big level, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is different.
But I mean, but on a big screen like that, like if he has
you.
Yeah, angst about that, that's just magnified. Yeah,
That's a good question over Whiskey and Cake.
I thought it was. We need to figure out some archive for those because one day we're gonna ask.
Early on in one of our earlier seasons, maybe season 4 or 5, I started going back listening to the beginning and started trying to catalog them, and it was too much then.
Here's a project, listener. If if you want to go back and listen to our old episodes, note the episode and what we would ask Bono over Whiskey and Kate.
Yes.
And send it our way because we have no record of.
And if a bunch of you listen to just 1 or 2 episodes,
yeah, talk amongst yourselves, figure out who's going to watch what episode, or listen, and get back to us because we really would like these questions.
And of course, there's a big gap where we kept forgetting.
Yes.
but I don't know when that was. And also, there may be some stuff in the middle. So good luck, y'all.
Yeah.
But
Knock
that would be
yourselves
great.
out. Hit us up.
We'll send
Um,
you a mug.
what?
We'll send you a mug or a t-shirt.
Yeah.
We'll get you
Whoever
something.
whoever listens to the most and gives us the most.
We'll get swag. Appropriate level of swag.
Yeah. So let's talk for a second about the Emmys.
Okay.
I guess I don't understand how streaming works because this just seemed like a movie to me. It didn't seem like it would be a TV anything.
Yeah.
And I know that there are movies that come out that are nominated for like Oscars that are
Right.
streamed. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it does have to do with even a limited, showing in a theater. I don't know the rules about that, but I would not have thought that this would have been an Emmy,
Right.
an Emmy eligible movie, but
And
like
I guess because it's
opera.
made for TV. Like
Yeah,
yeah, like how does it fit?
I don't know. But then I went through and looked at the categories for the Emmys, and I don't know where that would fall.
Interesting. Yeah.
I have no idea what category it would be in. And I like really spent some time looking at that, and I
Hmm.
had just absolutely no idea. If any of you know more about the Emmys than we do, uh, let us
Yeah.
know. But it he had I read the rules on the Emmys and stuff, and he actually had a viewing event yesterday that was sponsored by the Emmys. It wasn't that. It wasn't his interview. It was an actual like viewing.
Thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand any of that stuff. If he wins an Emmy, he'll just have an ego.
Ego. Well, he won't have the O. He'll just still be the egg.
That's just true. Oh, was the joke when they were up for an Oscar? It was like
When I thought,
if they
yes,
get it,
I'm like, what if this is so good that it's nominated for an Oscar? I'm like, then he'd have an ego.
go. Yeah.
So this would just be egg,
Yeah.
like with 22 G's.
Yeah. A lot of G's.
Yeah, and a couple of E's.
And if you could if you get enough G's, you could like turn them in for a T.
Yeah, trade it in for a T or an O. That's good.
That's good. You probably need like 50 though.
Yeah. Well,
50
I don't think
G's.
anybody has that.
I know. I'm just saying like
Yeah. Maybe that'll be a thing. If you have 50 G's, you can
you can buy a
trade
T.
49 in and buy a T
There you go.
or an O. Yeah. But you can only buy one. Like like you can't like trade in anymore. You can only buy one letter.
Right. Oh my
And you
God.
actually have to like show up with them. And
There's got to be major rules, like
yeah.
survivor style rules.
Yeah.
They have to all be on your person. Can't drop them.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Crazy. Okay.
Okay. Well, that might be a good place to stop.
That's all I have.
That's all I have too.
So, on the next Garden Tarts, Buster and Bono audition for the Blue Man Group. Good luck, Amanda. You're gonna need some paint. You're gonna get some
Removable.
pop-ons.
Well, they can ask some advice from what's his name?
Yeah.
Tobias.
Okay.
Yeah. In his Blue Man Group with his never nude shorts on.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, who out of Buster and Bono would be the never nude? I'm gonna guess Bono.
Maybe. I could see Buster just streaking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. I was not saying that one of them. I just couldn't remember Tobias's name. And then but I was just picturing him with his blue paint and his jorts on, his jean
Yeah.
cutoffs. Okay, y'all.
Watch Arrested Development. You'll
Watch
get
Arrested
it.
Development. Have a great week. Watch more Bono, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll be back next week with more U2ish content.
In the meantime, keep chatting with us on social media at _Garden Tarts.
Sign up for our newsletter at thegardentarts.com and share with your YouTube friends.
You can support us on Patreon, buy me a coffee, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Kissing Lips and Breaking Hearts, a U2ish podcast with the Garden Tarts, is created, produced, and edited by us, the Garden Tarts.
Intro and outro music by December.
See you next week.